I guess I always had that mindset. I remember in the kindergarten, you know how they ask you what you want to be when you grow up. I didn't know nothing about being rich. I was the only kid in the class say I want to be rich. After the clinic was open, I made my first $1 million. And they didn't stop coming. I didn't look at myself, as no drug dealer. And I don't know why I didn't look at myself as a drug dealer, you know what I'm saying? Because I was definitely that. He said, go get the money out the house. The feds coming, I'm telling you, the feds.
Would you say you changed the game?
Definitely. I definitely changed the game.
Where you from?
I was born in Natchez, Mississippi, but I'm from New Orleans, Uptown, 3rd Ward.
And that's where you grew up at?
Absolutely. It was good. I grew up in a single parent household. It was so much love in the house, I didn't even realize we were poor. When I realized we was poor is when I started to make money. I'm like, we was poor. Getting the lights cut off.
The first time you started making money, could you get into that? What was that?
I had group homes, me and my mother before that. And, I guess I was doing all right. So I thought, until I got into the pain management, and started making money, making like $1 million a month at that time. I mean, I remember the first $1 million I made, I was 29 years old. The clinic opened up in 2000, and 6 months after the clinic was open, I made my first $1 million. And they didn't stop coming.
She my track queen, let her hit the bando. We be counting up, watch how far them bands go.
I mean, I didn't get involved into moving the syrup and the pills and all that shit until I opened up the pharmacy. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing anything. I was just doing regular business, just marketing, and building my clinics. One clinic turned into two turned into 5. And then from that, we opened up a pharmacy, Southern Discount Pharmacy. My brother was dating this chick, Adrian, who was a pharmacist. And my brother came to me with the idea of opening up the pharmacy. And I remember the first time I met Adrian, I asked her, how much it was going to be to open up the pharmacy. And she said about $300,000. And I said, okay. The next day I met her with the money. It blew her mind. It didn't blow mine. And I was just asking her, how are we going to move with this pharmacy? How the pharmacy is going to make money. And she, gave me the whole layout, and it did. I mean, I already had the patients at the clinic. So we already had clientele of patients that would go to the pharmacy. It's not like I had to market them. You know what I'm saying? I remember the first couple of weeks we were open at the pharmacy. We made about $400,000 or $500,000. Wow. 12 employees went to 50, 50 went to 97, 97 went to 117. I mean, that's the people we were feeding. They was helping me too. Like I said, those people were good to me.
Don't you have to have anything like medical degrees or anything like that in order to get into?
No. So I used to tell people all the time, I say I'm a person with no degree, but I have 8. And that what I meant by that is I had 8 doctors at the time with 8 degrees. You know what I'm saying? But doctors are not business people. They're really not. They're not hustlers. They have degrees, but they're not hustlers. It's the difference between a hustler and somebody with a degree.
You knew it was illegal while you were doing it? When you guys were doing it?
You know what? I didn't really give a damn if it was illegal at the time. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things that I didn't really think about if it's legal or illegal. I knew that I had a legal business. So in my mind, I'm going to do what I have to do, and the business is going to back me. As the business grew, the team grew. And I realized that the money that I was making was dwindling. And I'm like, I got to figure out a way to, get my money back, that and then some. And the opportunity came one day with this lady, Toni White from Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And me and my husband had an argument that day, and every time we would argue, he would come with a gift. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't think that this was anything out of the ordinary. I had my trunk up, and this lady came around the back of my trunk. She said, "Hey, Candace, how you doing?" And so I'm just looking at her, and we went in front of the pharmacy, and it was on a Friday. It was payday. I'll never forget that. And she was talking to me and stuff like that, and she told me her name was Toni White. I didn't know who she was, So that was her way of really getting in. She had the gift of gab. She was a bad girl, I ain't gonna lie. And so when she finished talking, she said, "I have a gift for you." I said, "A gift?" She went to her car, and she came back, and she had a little black box. And I said, "What is this?" And she said, "Open it up." I opened it up. It was a ring. And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Tell players I don't want the ring. And I tried to give it back to her. And she said, "Players ain't give me this. This for you." When I got home, that night, I said, "That was clever what you did, sending that Harry Chin-ass lady over there with that ring." And he was like, "What? I ain't seen no lady with no ring, this, that, or third." And it was how she got in. And we started dealing that syrup. I mean, instantly. Yeah.
So you was actually her supplier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And she was really known in Baton Rouge, was able to get rid of it real fast.
Yes, Lord. I mean, giving her 4,000 bottles of syrup. It started off with 100. Then it ended up, I was giving her 4,000 to 10,000 bottles of syrup. Every time I seen Toni, once a week, she would come with these purses. These purses look like she done got them from Goodwill some damn well. And they never had no less than $90,000 in them. That was her thing, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we were buying the syrup at the time for $7 through the pharmacy. And I was selling it to her for $300 a bottle. What she was moving it on the street for, I don't know.
And that's enough to put fear in somebody, because it's really like drug dealing. So,
Yeah,
when you talk about those numbers and,
yeah. Yeah, and I really didn't feel like I was a drug dealer, because I wasn't moving no heroin or no coke or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel like no damn drug dealer. I felt like a businesswoman.
What was going through your mind? That's what I wanted to touch upon, like the interview with.
It was.
Any paranoia?
No, my husband was paranoid like that, but not me. He was paranoid, and all the time he would tell me, "Go inside, before dark," and all that shit and all that. No, I'm not going inside. You not inside, I'm not inside. You know what I'm saying? But he was outside for another reason. I was out there hustling, and he was out there doing what he was doing with them little women. You know what I'm saying? So
it wasn't at one point that you thought that something was fishy or something was funny that made you think.
No, my husband, I think he did. You know what I'm saying? Because he can smell the police. We separated, right? And he came back home, and he got sick. He had a seizure. Our house was 3 stories. He was yelling for me from the 2nd story of the house. And when I went up there to see what he was doing, he was coming down the stairs, and he had the phone in his hand. And he was like, the feds. And I was like, what? And he said, the feds on the phone, but he was having a seizure. It was, and I was like, give me the phone. And when he gave me the phone, I said, hello, wasn't nobody on the phone. I said, nobody's on the phone. And he went into a seizure. And he was a big guy, 6'5", 300 pounds. He pulled me over on him, and I was trying to break his fall. And I think that was the first time that I had ever heard the feds and all of that. And when we went to the hospital, we actually went to this hospital over here. It was Methodist at the time. When I went in the room with him, he told me to come close to him. And when I went close to him, the ambulance drivers that had dropped him off there, they were still in there, taking the stuff off of him and shit. He said, go get the money out the house. The feds coming, I'm telling you, they the feds right there. And I was like, please, some people are ambulance drivers. He said, they not, baby, I'm telling you, they the feds. But that was the first time, I had heard any, of that. And, and then after he got out of the hospital, his paranoia became, it was just overwhelming. It was just, I didn't go nowhere with him or anything like that. But
So that night in the hospital, he was paranoid or?
Thinking about it now, no, he wasn't paranoid. I believe them people was. You know what I'm saying? Who he said he was. Because he had bought some guns from this red ass named Harry. And Harry was the one that really set us up. You know what I'm saying? He was the one that really set us up. He was already in trouble with the feds. Players had a fascination for guns. He used to like to buy them, collect them, and all that. And he bought them from this dude. And that was how they got in and infiltrated our everything.
They give you a call and you just kind of rushed in, or the police?
No, so the storm came. You know what I'm saying? We was under investigation this was like in end of 2003. And they had to stop the investigation in 2005 when Katrina came. And so after Katrina, me and my husband, we separated and we never went back together. You know what I'm saying? He bought property somewhere. I bought property in Baton Rouge, and I, opened my clinics in Baton Rouge. And I already had clinics in Lafayette, and I should have known they was coming. I should have known it, but I really didn't, because we tried to open up another pharmacy in Baton Rouge, and they wouldn't give us a license for it. I'm running and I'm moving and I'm making money, and you don't look at all that shit, honestly. And I had a distribution company that was coming up in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I had sunk like $800,000 into that.
The distribution of medicine?
Mm-hmm. We wasn't going to even do the pharmacy anymore. We were going to be the distributors. And if we would have sold like one bottle of Oxys, one bottle of over-the-counters like aspirin or something like that to each of those pharmacies for a month at a time, we would have made $1 billion. And you have to get licensed in all 50 states in order to distribute. And we had licenses in 38 states. And they came simultaneously. The DEA was at all of my businesses. DEA, ATF, everybody, all the alphabets. They was at my homes, they was at my businesses, and simultaneously. They shut the bank accounts down. They took the money out of my house. They didn't even report the money that they took out of my house.
You go from having everything and then abruptly going to jail. What was it like for you? Culture shock, was it?
Yeah, it was a shock. When you go from living in a 10,000 square foot home to a matchbox. You know what I'm saying?
Did they give you a bond?
Yeah, they gave me a bond. I was indicted twice, dude. I was indicted twice. It's crazy. They let me out to indict me again. And I didn't know people was ratting on me at the time. I didn't. What was so hurtful to me is being out of my babies' lives. Me and their dad was all they had, and my sister and them.
How much time did you do all together?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
And how long have you been home?
I've been home 5 years.
5 years. And so you released in 2017?
Yes, June of 2017.
Was it another culture shock coming home, readjusting, seeing these cell phones and?
Ooh, baby. I wanted to come home and I wanted my Android and a flip phone or whatever. Yeah, it was a culture shock. It was. It really was. And coming home not having nothing, I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to that. I wasn't able to go and, just get money no more. I wasn't able to go to the closet no more. I wasn't able to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? And my children, two of my daughters were still in high school in the 10th and 11th grade. And not being able to pay their budgets and stuff like that. That shit was hard. It was hard. And my oldest daughter, she held it down. She did. She held it down, and as much as she could, and she did her thing. I remember the time when I feel like I owe my daughter, because I remember the time this little girl was 16 years old, and if she couldn't do nothing but send me $15, she did that. She did that, and that's how I was able to get commissary a lot of times. So I feel like I owe my daughter.